Hello, my name's Courtney Paddock, and I'm a senior at Colorado State University in Fort Collins, Colorado. I'm currently serving as an intern for Sisters of Color United for Education. I would like this program and this video to be used in the Promotor training. In addition to going over terminology about legal sex, gender, and sexual orientation, I will be giving participants this diagram. This diagram will allow participants to see how each category they define themselves visually, and also how as a whole that we don't fit into these categories that we as people feel that society assigns us to, and that is why a lot of this is a social construct, in that we need to look at these categories as spectrums rather than boxes. First, I would like to start talking about gender and sex. These terms are often seen synonymously together, when really they are two different things. When we talk about sex in terms of a noun, we normally talk about your biological sex, meaning whether you were born female, intersex, or male. Intersex is a new terminology that was used to replace the term hermaphrodite. Sex, as defined by this card, is the anatomy and biology that determines whether one is male, female, or intersexed. Normally, one's anatomy and biology is determined by their primary and sex characteristics. For male, one primary sex characteristic is having a penis. For female, a secondary sex characteristic can be by having breasts. Intersex is when you have a combination or a different combination between male and female, what we deem as male and female primary and secondary sex characteristics. Gender is a psychological construct most people use to classify a person as male, female, both, or neither. Gender is like sexuality. It is fluid and can change over time in individuals and humans in society. It does not have to be or match their assigned sex. Can you first show me your kind of diagram, and then also explain the process of you doing it and why you chose to do your lines in the certain way that you did?
Sure. This is my diagram.
Okay.
My legal sex is female.
Okay.
And biologically I'm female. I choose to identify as a female in society.
I put my legal sex as male because I was born as male, and I am currently a male. Sex also male.
Legal sex female, sex female, and my gender identity as a woman.
I was born female, and I do identify as female, and so my current legal sex still matches my birth sex, which to me is partly gender normative privilege, being comfortable going to the restroom of my choice, but still presenting very feminine, and how that counteracts with being gay and expected to be very masculine and very butch.
The next topic is gender. Gender is often, like I said before, comes coincidentally with sex. But gender really is a social construct. And what I mean that is that there's no such thing as gender. Rather, it is our society that creates gender through the combination of gender roles, behavior, and expression. And that makes up gender identity. Often one's gender identity is combined in boy and girl, guy or girl, or man and woman. And that is how you present yourself in a gendered label. In the middle, between man and woman, we often get transgender. Transgender is an umbrella term used to describe those who have gender identities, expressions, or behaviors not traditionally assigned to their birth sex. This term can include transsexuals, transvestites, gender benders, drag kings, or queens. This term is often used by people individually to define their own gender. Gender expression is another way that we use to describe how we present ourselves in a gendered way. Gender expression is often how we present ourselves in society and to the world. One example of gender expression would be whether you have long hair or short hair, whether you wear traditionally assigned male or female clothing, also how masculine or feminine you come off.
My gender identity is kind of more in the middle. I present myself as very female, but I feel that a lot of the ways that I approach things or how I feel about certain things would be sometimes more masculine. Gender expression, I definitely, at this point in my life, it's changed a lot, but at this point in my life, I definitely feel that I come off as very feminine.
My gender expression, I put it's basically in the middle there. Reason for that is because I don't really fit into a lot of feminine or really like women or what it is to be a girl or a woman in the society. I don't fit into that box.
Gender identity is more of a woman. Gender expression is kind of off the feminine side a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Gender identity is a man as far as like the way I dress and how I pretty much look. Gender expression is I put it towards more masculine because I am the way I look and the way that I actually act is considered to be more masculine.
My gender identity, the reason that there are these like little brackets around here is because I believe that it's kind of a confidence interval, so sometimes it's situational. And so this little X is not really a fixed point for me, but it may shift depending on what I'm doing or what my interaction is. And so I tend to be more on a male side, but having it in a dichotomy like this, where man versus woman, on this line I shift because I do have estrogen, I was socialized to be a girl, even though I felt more as a child as being male. But now this is kind of my general operating procedure is somewhere between here and here.
Gender roles are the attitudes and behaviors that a society or a culture stereotypically assigns genders. For example, men are tough, whereas women are the caretakers. However, keep in mind that these roles are stereotypical, and most men and women actively play both masculine and feminine roles in their lives.
Gender role, I definitely a little more in the middle. Me and my partner, we really don't like having the woman role, male role. We really collaborate and either do things together, or we're really intentional about the roles and everything. And just in my life personally, I don't feel that I need to be put in a box to be a mother, a teacher, a nurse, a doctor, or whatever. I really feel like I could do whatever I want.
Gender role is typically more masculine. Again, that's something that's kind of a confidence interval that shifts, and I like the idea of gender fluidity and being able to not just fit into that stereotype, which often is something that I think trans men do, is they're constructing their masculinity. And I've spent quite a bit of time constructing my masculinity in a way that is cognizant of how I believe, who I really truly am.
Gender role, that maybe could have gone over a little bit further, because as feminine, I don't have the masculine gender role, but some ways in my life can tend to be that way.
The gender role is about the same because I do a lot of things that are considered to be non-masculine.
What I hope you learned is that gender and sex sometimes go hand in hand, but they're not constructed exactly and permanently fit. Like male, it means masculine, and female means feminine. That each person individually plays out different gender roles, has different gender expression and identity that isn't necessarily assigned to our biological sex.